We are going to waste no time whatsoever and jump straight into the next game. It's Vardu versus Mrclowny, and to avoid a long break before we start the next round of the Swiss, we figured we may as well just join in with the last group and see where they're at right now. It's mid-game, the score is 1-1, it's Warlock versus Rogue, and oh, never mind. Okay, apparently they just finished their game. Who won, production? Who won? Who won?
Voices from the gods.
Voices in my head. Who won? No, okay.
Falcone's hearing the voices again, guys.
We're going to join in game 4 very soon, I am told. Clowny won with the Rogue versus Warlock. That's no big surprise whatsoever. Once again, joining me, of course, is Lorinda. There you go.
Well,
this is very...
I don't even know what to say after that intro and then the change. 2 games to 1, and we have the game available, so we're going to bring you the game.
So breaking news! One of the players has actually won the game we were about to join. Slows us down just a little bit. We were going to join in on like 8 or 9 mana or something.
Yeah, obviously when Quest Rogue, assuming it is Quest Rogue, gets that far, it is a fiesta of 5/5s for Mrclowny, and he just will run riot, and he's just got the Paladin to beat, which should lose very quickly with his Rogue to that, and then it's going to be the Priest versus Paladin that we're going to see a lot of.
Yes, we're going to see a lot of Paladin, I think, in general. I actually expected Paladin to be banned more in this tournament. More like...
Right.
I was almost expecting it to be just most players ban it, and we don't see it much at all. But anyways, without further ado, it's game number 4, Vardu versus Mrclowny.
Okay, so basically in this situation, Mrclowny has got so much work to do. A lot of the times you just get you just get smashed. But your weapon has to do overtime in this game. And look at this hand from Vardu. He's got plenty going on here. Yeah,
I mean, 2-drop into 2-drop. Seems pretty good. Against Rogue, you want to be as aggressive as possible, so coining out the first Amani Berserker and then playing the second one straight after looks pretty good to me.
Vardu part of the Finnish army. The unstoppable army, Zump the champion from that team. Well, not a team, but that nation.
They are quite unstoppable, aren't they? Team Winland.
They were absolutely destroyed DreamHack winter.
Right.
That was the last DreamHack that was a Grand Prix.
I thought you were going to say they were absolutely destroyed in...
I mean, myself, Sottle and Raven, who all like to fight, all picked Zump to win it from the round of 16.
Ow.
And he won it. That's how much we saw Finland just destroy people. It was like, yeah, they're just going to win this. And they are one of the, not so many forced by number of players. There's probably only 7 or 8 top players from the country, but they always do well.
Mimic Pod into double sap for Mrclowny. It's looking like it might be okay this game if Mrclowny just wants a turn of stalling. Why is that in the deck? Hang on, go back, rewind. Let's sell Raider.
Yeah, you got weapons.
Oh, yes.
You need generic 2/3. I mean, how often, you played a lot of this deck, how often does your Berserker actually go in for 5? I know it happens.
Yeah, not very often.
So you might as well have a Bloodstone Raider that might just be a 6/3 sometimes.
I mean, to be totally honest with you, the deck I was playing was only running 1 Amani Berserker and double
there you go.
Beetle,
so if you want to change your River Croc to a different way of having a 6/3 that doesn't connect with face,
it's true.
Why not?
It's true.
I'm not saying I agree, I'm not saying I disagree, it's just, why not? It's basically around the same, I think. You're talking fraction. If you actually put just straight up River Croc in there, it's probably not going to destroy your win percentage too hard.
Probably don't want to do that.
Yeah, I'd rather have a 5/2 because they have to deal with it. They could probably ignore a 2/2 River Croc, but yeah.
Or even a River Croc that gains you armor. Probably better than the River Croc himself.
Let's just carry on talking while we see if there's any reason at all why Mrclowny should lose this game of Hearthstone. I can't find one.
Should lose?
Yeah, I mean, he should win, sorry, this game of Hearthstone, sorry.
I was wondering...
I got everybody excited.
I thought we were looking at a very different game of Hearthstone just then. Or a very different matchup in its entirety. Knife Juggler again, picked up by Vardu now. That is the key card for Vardu that can... just win him the game. Board gets vanished, so what? I'll start flinging knives everywhere as I recoup.
Vardu, a pretty well-established player as well. He's been around quite a while now. This is something like his 4th or 5th DreamHack. Been in one top 16, but I don't know which one. He's been in one top 8, I believe, but I'm not sure which one. Yeah, he's been in one top 8. It wouldn't surprise me if it was the same one as Zump won. So...
That was a good event.
I mean, Finland just turned up with a killer lineup, and Zump played it incredibly well. I think almost all of them, apart from one, went 5-2 or better in the first 7 rounds.
Right. Vicious Scale High being played just to remove one of these Saranites. It's not a good position to be in the slightest. He bounces it, sure, but that sort of means he's committed to completing the quest with Vicious Scale Hides.
I mean...
Which is easier said than done.
It's just difficult to do anything, right? You've got to not die, buy yourself loads of time, and those two things are both really difficult, and then you've actually got to win afterwards as well, so you can't lose the Scale Hide. We saw earlier when you lose both your Scale Hides, you've lost this matchup. When Saiyan was basically having to sort of leave them on the board and stuff. I mean, we're going to see this a few times over the next 3 days, and it's going to be like this, all but one of them. Somebody somewhere will squeak away with the Rogue. Look at this hand for Vardu.
It's so difficult to piece together how this quest ever gets completed. Okay, great, that's one more tick on the Scale Hide. Now what?
Yeah, you're not going to just complete it, you've got to complete it with the Scale Hide alive somewhere and something on the board, otherwise your 5/5s never actually get to attack.
Also, he has 13 health left.
Yeah, and he's actually got to get there, right? And Vardu has burst damage galore in his hand. I mean, we're waiting for Game 5, really. Game 5 waiting room right now.
I mean, you have rightly said in the past, we do call games too early sometimes.
We do, but how's this Paladin going to do against Priest?
Well...
I mean, it is not over, but it's
winnable.
So close to over.
Yeah, so Prep Vanish is the only combination of cards that I'm thinking of that could potentially buy Mrclowny more time. It's not going to do that much, once again, because Knife Juggler with the knives, and also True Silver Champion will not get vanished away. So if Vardu equipped True Silver Champion now, went face with it, Mrclowny drew Vanish, played it, then Avenging Wrath just wins the game next turn with the second hit for True Silver. It's just... There's so few ways that Mrclowny can come back. There's the second Knife Juggler, so knives going everywhere now.
The weird thing with playing this as the Paladin is it's actually really difficult to play it well, this matchup.
I agree.
It doesn't matter because you win anyway, but you always finish the game going, I wonder if I should have done this differently. And that's why Vardu's taking time here.
Like right there, I was going to say, does he have to trade into this, this Glacier Shard now? And missed the 2 damage because none of the knives did the job. But there we go. Game 5 waiting room. Wait complete. Mrclowny takes the win. We're going all the way to Game 5 one more time.
Paladin versus the Priest, and this is where Vardu's going to have to earn his 3rd win. This is difficult, but not unwinnable. And it really comes down to the Priest finding the Dustbreaker and the Pyro, but they have plenty of time to do it.
Right. Yeah, plenty of time indeed, exactly. Again, the Paladin can use cards like Blessing of Kings to buy themselves a little bit of time, but Valenier plus Saronite Chain Gang isn't quite as effective against the Priest as it is against any of the other classes, because Mass Dispel and Psychic Scream both just remove all of the perks and, yeah, just leave them with nothing. Paladin can only refill the board so many times.
Yeah, it can also keep sort of tickling away with the 1/1s every single turn, but they tend to run out of steam when you've got Divine Hymns going on. Okay. Well, he hasn't got a dragon to activate it, but...
That's fine. He can just full mulligan all of the other cards until he gets one.
Do you keep the Ooze? You probably do. I mean, you want to... Yeah.
I really don't know.
So this is weird, right? So Mrclowny here in this situation, those are the 3 cards he wants to keep. But if you keep them all, Dustbreaker becomes kind of bleh.
Yeah.
So you then have to throw away at least one of the other cards to give yourself a decent chance of a dragon. And then you start looking at the Ooze and saying, well, how much chance of a dragon do I need? Vardu, on the other hand, just looking for cards that have numbers 2 and 3 in any order on the bottom.
And preferably the number 2 at the top as well.
Yeah, that would be useful. So he does decide to keep the Ooze.
Okay, yeah, I can get behind that. to buy him a little bit of extra time. Didn't get a dragon, though.
Right, and this is...
And that would have been my argument for the
Now he would like to get rid of the ooze.
Because Pyromancer, Cleric, and all dragons would have been... Like, any of those is what Clowny needed more than anything. So I still would have preferred the full mull a little bit. I can understand why he didn't. Let's hope that by turn 4 he picks up a Twilight Drake or a Primordial Drake or Alexstrasza or something.
Big Mrclowny fan? Just hoping that he picks up a way to activate his...
Not as much as an Orange fan.
Not as much as an Orange fan. That didn't go too good. Okay, so Vardu will just be trying to curve out here. Turn 3 is going to be the crucial one.
Yeah, Mrclowny just can't really do that much. It's...
Why did he not hero power?
Oh, sorry, I was wondering why you pulled a funny face at me there, but yeah, to play on Cleric?
Sure, yeah, that's the answer. Cool, that's fine, that is the answer.
Okay.
Good.
I don't necessarily agree that that's always right, though.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, right? You can deal with a 3-2 cleric, 1-3 cleric with your 3-2. If they want to bump and heal on their turn 2 and spend that time and you then start hitting them, sure.
They've not played a Pyromancer that turn.
But I don't mind either way. I think it's a pretty close call. Mrclowny kept 2 cards. One's Dustbreaker, what's the other? Is it a cleric? Yes, a lot of the time it is.
Yep.
So, with that in mind, I can see why he didn't do the turn 1 now you point that out.
And what is this pick? Is it the Powered Shield or the Psychic Scream? Scream looks like he's being a little bit optimistic that he's going to make
So does Shield, though.
The Shield is optimistic too because it doesn't do anything immediately. I guess next turn is just coin Drake and then hoping to hit stick Powered Shield on it. Vardu also running the Glass Knight, interestingly.
I mean, you can put the Shield on. You don't coin the Drake because you want to keep your activator for Dustbreaker. So you can possibly preemptive. There's a lot of things you can kind of do, but yeah.
What would Uther do?
See where he ends up with this. Well, Vardu in a better spot now. He has picked up any 2-drop at all.
Not going to play the Knife Juggler yet. They're going to play around the Duskbreaker, which is in Mrclowny's hand, and now does actually have something to activate it.
This is where you have to start doing some heavy-duty mathematics.
It just gets
also known as counting.
It just gets so complicated.
If you want to coin out the Drake to challenge this board here, it's only really weak to a weapon, I mean, or quality or silence, but if your opponent's playing those, fine. Then you've got to work out or know how many turns you'll likely have to wait for another dragon.
Yep. Coining out the Drake was what player did earlier on today, which was a very nice way of playing turn 4. But in that situation, he had both Drakes in hand and Duskbreaker.
Right.
So he still had a way of proccing it. That's okay. I guess Divine Hymn, sure. I was expecting a Psychic Scream then, but...
Setting up for a big card draw turn maybe later.
No Cleric, no Pyromancer in hand, though. Again, yeah, it's quite optimistic.
It's optimistic, but because Vardu's taking it easy, I think Mrclowny said, okay, well, I can take 4 all day, mate. Put some more stuff out there. What are you going to do? You going to play a weapon? How do you fancy it?
Vardu's going to play the Glass Knight, and this plays around Duskbreaker nicely. I hadn't thought about that. The Glass Knight,
right? Yeah, it's good.
Does play around Duskbreaker.
And now it's really awkward. And Mrclowny not developing the board and not killing things has now got himself into a bit of a pickle because he's not able to deal with everything, like you said. Duskbreaker challenges the Glass Knight at least, but that's all.
Yeah, but challenging is not good enough because then Vardu just plays Blasting Kings or True Silver Champion. True Silver Champion's even better. Plays True Silver Champion, hits the Duskbreaker with the True Silver, gets the Divine Shield back.
Yep. And then your ooze doesn't matter because the job has been done by the True Silver at that point.
Yeah, like Vardu won't care. Is Duskbreaker really the way to go? Maybe Master Spell. It's so greedy.
I mean, can you get away with Drake into Coin Shield and just hope for dragons?
It is Master Spell.
Wow. This feels a little bit awkward to me.
It's definitely greedy, but
I think it might be too greedy.
I'm struggling to see how that's better than Twilight. Well, it's better than Twilight Drake because it draws him a card, doesn't.
It's the turn before that was the weird one because he didn't really seem to need to have to Shadow Visions. He seemed to need to do anything other than that. He had the bits he wanted spell-wise.
Reporting for duty.
Yeah, this is just overwhelming amount of stuff that's going to get, or would get screamed away, but Mrclowny hasn't chosen one.
Mind Blast is pretty much useless in this matchup, especially when the game is looking like this. Mrclowny, Dustbreaker's still not good enough, and Vardu has just done such an efficient job at playing around these board clears.
Yeah, I feel like Mrclowny hasn't been aggressive enough in trying to fight back. I may be proved to be wrong yet at some point, but...
This game alone has given me the a greater understanding of why the Glass Knight is being played.
Sure, it's just, yeah. It's decent. I mean, but that's the thing. It's interesting that no one's playing Silver Moon Guardian before.
Sure.
That's always the argument, is why weren't we playing with that? Well, one of the answers that is legitimate, I'm not going to say it's right, is we should have been. You know, we're playing all the other basic cards, why don't we play that as well? Just the Glass Knight is better. But nobody's playing Silver Moon Guardian as a second Glass Knight, for instance.
Right.
Like you say, 4 is bigger than 3.
Yeah.
In no uncertain terms.
I guess you'd always play Corpse Takers instead of Silver Moon Guardian, right?
I guess, yeah.
Anyways, he's almost there, almost over the finish line. Mrclowny at 2 health, second Dustbreaker. Is capable of clearing the board if he wants to, but then if he doesn't follow up with the Divine Hymn, he does just die. In fact, okay, Divine Hymn puts him on... So Dustbreaker Divine Hymn would clear the board, put Mrclowny on 8 health. True Silver Champion Consecration would put Mrclowny back down to 2 again.
Yeah, and he's even likely to go True Silver, Juggler, Doofus, Berserker. That's a lot of things. You can't quite do all those things. But you can do a lot of things and get the Juggler developed and still have the Consecration back, get a Juggler ping guaranteed.
Sure.
Beware the shadow.
I don't know, I feel like Mrclowny, I mean, he may still win this, but...
He definitely has a shot. Again,
Yeah.
the Dustbreaker clears the board. Divine Hymn means he definitely survives. Next turn, he can Gluttonous Ooze the True Silver Champion. That gives him a little bit more of a health boost. And also, he could drop Twilight Drake that turn too. It's not over. And of course, playing Divine Hymn first means that this Dustbreaker lives as well. It's a decent board. Unless Mr... I don't think... No, even Avenging...
He hasn't healed, so...
He's on 8.
Okay.
Divine Hymn, put him from 2 to 8.
So there's the Wrath for later. And by later, I mean fairly soon.
like the next couple turns, yeah. It's a shame that Vardu wasn't able to develop the True Silver Champion, but at the same time, who's just sitting there waiting for it? True Silver Champion essentially deals 0 damage, because the damage it deals gets recovered again in armor. Pyromancer's a good draw. But Holy Fire is probably better this turn.
I mean, he's got to still try and keep out of range of dying.
So is it Hero Power Face, Coin, Holy Fire? Maybe it's Powered Shield, Holy Fire, trade, the 1/1? Would put him on 10 with the Duskbreaker still alive.
Well, hope he's got a plan, because this turn's going to start roping very soon. Okay, board is cleared. The health total is double figures. What could possibly go wrong from here? Quite a lot.
Well, Paladin just has a way of just killing you very, very quickly.
He has held on to that ooze, though, so...
He has, but Vardu's also held on to that True Silver Champion.
Yeah.
I can't help but wonder if he's gotten some sort of read.
I mean, there were 2 cards kept. That ooze was one of them. He knew it wasn't a Northstar Cleric. He played around that, so he was really aware of this. He's seen the Duskbreakers.
Like, what else would it be? Shadow Reaper Anduin?
That's possible.
I don't even know if that's kept in this match.
Right,
though.
Exactly. I don't either. I suspect it's not.
Given that Vardu will know that Mrclowny runs it in his deck,
yeah,
he probably has a good idea that that's what the card is. So he's continuing to not play it.
Loads of burst next turn if this 1/1 is not dealt with.
Yeah, I think it
certainly
will be.
Not going to be a happy 1/1.
With the double Pyromancer in hand. Can hero power face pretty much every turn at this point, Mrclowny.
Yeah, and he is definitely on the edge of stabilising here. Vardu looking for Argent Command off the top, rip you in the face for 8. But beyond that, it's struggling to get this blessing on anything ever. Like you say about the True Silver, there's the clue there. He just didn't want to play it, even on that last turn.
Yeah.
Just holding onto it for a killing blow of 4, not 8, and he's soon going to have to commit it.
Yeah, every single turn that Mrclowny continues to hold onto that ooze, Vardu is just going to be more and more certain if he's paying attention, but that's what it is. As Mrclowny says, no blessings for you.
Second him, and now he's in the clear, I think.
The question is, does he play it now? What kills him from 6 with 2 minions on board? A quality Avenging Wrath kills him on 6 with 2 minions on board. One Avenging Wrath has already been played, though. Luckily for Vardu, sorry, luckily for Mrclowny, Vardu does not have the second and an equality.
And even though, like, Mrclowny has done no damage, the second he gets much more health and starts actually having the board, the game ends really quickly. So Vardu doing his best to deal with that. Mrclowny can clear if he wants to. It's not pretty, though.
Mind Blast him, Mind Blast.
Yeah.
It's not too bad, actually. When else is he going to... the Mind Blasts aren't used for killing his opponent in this matchup. That's just not their purpose.
But you have to trade as well. It's not fun.
Yeah. Loses his board, but also heals a considerable amount of health. Puts himself back on 14, actually, and leaves Vardu with nothing on the board. I think that's fine. In fact, yeah, he can play the Cleric too. Draw a bunch of cards. This isn't bad for Mrclowny at all.
So here are the cards. He's pretty much stable. Card's going to replace the board that he's going to lose. And Vardu is out of a burst. Board is clear, and his burst requires the board. The ooze has got the weapon under control.
That even gets to heal up the Pyromancer.
And despite those early turns where Mrclowny seemed to play a little bit strangely, to me at least, it seems to have worked out nicely for him, and his patience is paying off.
That was a little technical mistake there. Mrclowny could have healed up the Twilight Drake. It would have then survived the trade.
Oops.
He almost did the oops emo and then decided against it.
Yeah, good idea not to give your opponent any clues when you're sat opposite them.
Your magic shall not save you.
This looks like a good card, this 6-3 for 2.
I'm with you. Yep.
I'm not sure how good, but it's interesting at least.
But now Vardu will see that his greatest fear is coming to fruition, and it is...
Spiders.
A gluttonous ooze. No, no,
okay.
It's ooze. Are you not afraid of ooze?
Right away.
I am if I've got this board.
I wouldn't like one sliding all over me and destroying my weapons. Ugh.
I don't even know where to go with that comment, and I'm going to move as swiftly on as I ever have in my life.
That wasn't swift at all. You had a huge pause after you said that, Neil.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so still not quite stabilised, but loads of taunt as well now available. Perpetual heal, but off the top, call to arms. How much left is there? A juggler.
That's... Oh, okay, there is another. That was a bit of a pause there. That's okay, and a loot hoarder. That's always helpful.
And obviously the Northshire Cleric that you put in your Paladin deck.
Yep. I would.
Why not?
Absolutely would. If I could run Northshire Cleric, an even Paladin, and it's still, you know, still got their cheap hero power, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not. It keeps looking like it's over, and it basically is because.
Well, Primordial Drake is
Drake's
a killer here.
Oh, okay.
And Anduin is going to be good next turn. I really don't think there's any reason not to play Drake here. Yeah, Loot Hoarder draws a card. Maybe he gets quality Avenging Wrath. That's still not lethal.
Yeah, Mrclowny here is just taking his time. He hasn't had a lot of exposure in Hearthstone tournaments before, so probably a little bit nervous about beating one of the more well-known players.
This is not the time to make another mistake.
Right, and you've just made a mistake, so take your time, work it out. You are giving up your ooze here. You could heal it if you want, or you could heal your own face. That's his decision. But I think I'd give up the ooze and just heal my face here. If I can heal my face here every turn, this Paladin's not beating me. But occupying the board with the ooze is important too, so I get the problem. He's not dead to equality anything. whichever way he goes.
Nope. He's not.
It's a toughie. I can see what the problem is here. He's actually going to divine him and just get around that issue.
And also play the Vardu.
So it's a waste of 2 healing in the short term.
He never loses the board again.
But he never loses the board again and should be stable forever now.
There's the equality. Again, a point I want to consider is that earlier Mrclowny did not play around a potential equality Avenging Wrath lethal. There was a turn where if Vardu had that, it would have killed Mrclowny, and he could have played around it. There was also the slight technical mistake we saw a couple turns ago where the Twilight Drake was killed off and didn't have to be. However, the game plan has worked out, by the looks of things at least. And Mrclowny is looking like he's going to take this one. Anduin's going to make short work of this beefy Spoutbreaker, and I imagine that's when we'll see the concede.
Pew Pew doesn't die to equality. Yeah, it looks pretty good. But then he doesn't heal anymore. Maybe you don't see a concede just yet. We might.
The light has betrayed me.
Oh, interesting. I think I'd have healed first there. It doesn't really matter, but
I guess Vardu's dead next turn.
Either way,
or the turn after, regardless. I guess my concede prediction not quite on point, but again
close enough. I think, Dan. I think it's coming here.
Again, Greymane not going to bring this game back for Vardu as he plays it out. And is he? Can we call it? Please, Vardu. No. Okay.
Is there a lethal? 4, 7, 11.
No, there isn't a lethal. I mean, what we're experiencing now is much more painful for Vardu than a lethal would be. It's the slowly pinging away the board, bit by bit, reducing everything Vardu holds dear to him in this game to nothing.
Yeah, and Mrclowny is actually... I think Vardu's right not to concede here. Mrclowny's clearly nervous about this.
Yeah, it's true.
And it clearly means a lot to him to go this well at DreamHack. And yeah, if your opponent's being this nervous, give them a chance to make some absolutely ridiculous play. We've seen it before in tired DreamHack situations, so give them a chance.
I mean, I'm pretty sure in almost all circumstances, it's strictly better to keep playing. Like, why not? He's getting his screen time, you know.
So why not? There's 9 rounds of Swiss.
Right. Okay. Sure. That is.
And travelled for 6 hours in a car yesterday.
Yeah. But there's the equality consecration, but it's just not enough. Mrclowny still has a full hand. He's still pinging every single turn. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's the only reason not to is psychological.
Sure.
Right? It's
just a case of how tiring it is, and just pressing end turn, waiting for your opponent to make a mistake is not tiring you out. So you might as well carry on. I agree. I like that Vardu is his mental attitude. That's twice he's taken a drink of water during this game where it's looked over.
Right.
He's just doing all the right things, going through the motions maybe a little bit. But again, this is a long tournament. If you keep yourself in that right mental state going into the next round, then you're likely to do better in the next round. Whereas if you start sort of drifting and messing around because you've lost or whatever, you know, keep hydrated is massive at these events. So many people get headaches by the end of the day because they just don't do that thing.
Okay, and ready for the top deck Yogg-Saron. Let's go!
Don't even.
Don't think that's possible anymore for a variety of reasons. There's the concede. Finally, Vardu gives up the game. Mrclowny takes his 3rd win of the Swiss. And yeah, like I said, a couple mistakes here and there, but all in all, not bad at all.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if we get to see a bit more of Mrclowny later in the tournament. Maybe this experience earlier round can help him a lot if he's in there, say, in the top 16 or in round 7 or 8 with a win and in. A lot of people you talk to who've been on that stage once, like the first time, is just terrifying. Yeah. Even Sottle got nervous when his first big match.
Did he? No, can you imagine a little nervous Sottle? That's
no. That's
something I really want to picture, but for some reason just can't.
It just doesn't like compute, does it? I mean, little nervous Sottle is just Raven.
Anyways, on that note, we are just about done with round 3 of the Swiss. We are going to be right back with round 4 very soon.